Hello. Today we are doing a much anticipated video for myself, and as you might see in the background, it's to do with the rotor pick. So as a lot of you know, I've had a rotor pick for a while, and I make lots of posts on it because, well, I think it's really good, and it has a place in the box here along with my other 2-in-1 tools, which also have their place. There's stuff that the rotor pick cannot do, and I don't see it being a valid option for the rotor pick to be doing it. So other picks have their place in my tool bag, but we're talking about the rotor today. Now you may notice I have another one over here because I've just got myself a new one. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today, how it comes and what it opens, and I can't really say too much about the price other than, yes, it is expensive, but do I think it's worth it? Yes, I do. That's mainly based on it will pick several different cylinders that we're going to find here in the UK, all with the same tool. And you may notice here some blades, so that's the only variable here really, is changing the blades out. And also you see it comes with a bunch of spare wires and different wires for different locks. This is the case it comes in, a wooden one, very nice presentation with that's the lid back there. And I like to take it out of there and put it in a hard case, just because that rattling around in the van is going to end up getting broken. It comes with this new one I have here. It comes with several different blades. This is one that I've made myself, so that's not in there, but that will help me pick Yale Superior and other weird things that might have side pins on them. That's why I've made that. The other ones it comes with is a Cisa Astral blade and other Cisa models, ABUS D section as well. This one is the Iseo R6. It'll do that, and I hear another type of dimple Iseo lock as well. I'm not sure which one it is, but it'll do something else. This one here is a Mul-T-Lock blade. Oh, now it's on the floor. This one will do keyway on the left hand side, and what that's referring to is it's the opposite of this one. This is a Garrison. When we say keyway on the left, we're referring to what side of the plug the hole is kind of on. So this would be a right hand keyway, as there is a bit of metal here on the left, meaning that the opening is further over to the right. So this is a left hand blade. This would service the other side of Mul-T-Lock, so your interactive cylinders. Here is one. This is interactive. We'll be picking this a little bit later. This cylinder will go this way up, as the pins are down in the bottom here. This is a left hand keyway. As you can see, the pins in the bottom here, this is a right hand keyway. So put that over there and we can pick that a bit later. Keep dropping this blade. Okay. So we also have here a spare stem with different markings on it. This one you can see here is labeled Cisa. So when we go to change the blade, we just slide the plunger out and put the Cisa one in, and we're ready to go. That comes in the box like that too. We're going to start picking, because this is going to be a long video, I'm afraid. There's just a lot to cover. So come in the box here. This is a little handle that'll come with it as well. You can screw that in 3 different locations. Also down in there is a grub screw which holds this wheel onto the body of the lock. Once I have removed the wheel to get into a tight lock against a van lock on Mul-T-Locks, I had to take that wheel off to do that. So it's nice that it's an option. You can take it away if it gets in your way. The screw at the back here locks down the plunger. I lock that down like that for transport to stop it from rattling or coming loose, but it also serves another function. You may see a little dimple here, and that screw will lock down into that dimple, enabling you to calibrate the wire. You'll see there's a little mark there. We'll get into that a little bit later, because we're going to be switching the blade out and the wire. So first of all, you see up in the vise, as I said, we've got a Mul-T-Lock Garrison. I'm mainly using this bar today for you guys to see the movement on the core and how we're progressing through the locks. Occasionally I will use it though, as it's two different tension techniques, is twisting and applying a tension. It's two different feels that you might get from that. So if one fails, maybe just move on and try the other one. You can't go too wrong with that. So here, Mul-T-Lock Garrison with the thumb turn. Any of these locks that I picked today are not being modified. They are all either new out of the box, like some of these Iseos, or just locks that I've not touched. And I have no way to really prove that to you because I'm not taking these locks apart, but you have to believe me. So here we go. Most of these locks today I'm going to pick in the clockwise direction, as it is the easier direction for this right hand blade, for example, but it can be picked in the other direction as well. If you are most comfortable picking in this direction, then you can always remove the tool at any point, even when the lock is completely picked, and then plug spin the lock back the other direction if you need to. Okay, so for the Mul-T-Lock Garrison, we have 7 pins in this cylinder, and those pin marks are related here on the plunger. 7 lines here, and you have different colours on here, so that when you're halfway in here, you don't need to count lines to know what number you're on. The blue line is the middle pin in this circumstance, so that's pin number 4 on the blue line, and it's just a quick, easy reference to see that red line on the end. And it did have a red line this end as well, but it's only been put in with pen, so we can put that back on later. You will notice this is a new tool. These new tools do squeak a lot. You may have seen it on other videos as well. I'm sure you're going to hear it as we progress, but you can see this is my older one. It does not squeak. It's been worn in, so it is literally just that the new tool is squeaking because it's new. It's aluminium on aluminium. Here we have a gauge at the back as well if you wanted to decode the lock after you've picked it. This ring here is movable with a grub screw, which is found on the other side, so if you needed to calibrate that to a certain lock, you can do that. And let's just move on to picking and stop talking so much. So I'm working my way through these lines here at the back, tapping down with light tension on. I got a click, and we may have seen that bar move. I'm just going to adjust the camera up a little now that we've seen what's on the desk, and then hopefully we can see that rod moving. Okay, not too high. So I'm going to do that again. I'll reset the lock just so that we can see that rod move once we hit that first pin into the false set. So I'm tapping through. It was pin 6. Oh no, that was pin 6. There we go, pin 6, and we've got a little movement. Everything from now on will be spools, so we can count. That was 1 pin. Here's pin 6. 6, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We lost our false set there. I'm going to relax on the tension a little bit to get our false set back. Watch the end of our rod there. And we got the false set back. Now we can go through and see who we dropped in that process. One right at the back there. Got him back. Moving through, searching for the counter. Okay, I keep dropping that one. And there we go. So, took a bit longer than a Garrison normally takes that time. I'm sort of explaining as I go through it. There's a Garrison, we'll move on. So, as I say, it will do the normal 7 pin. It will also do the integrator, which is just the same as a Garrison with a slightly different key profile. I don't have one here to hand today, unfortunately, but it will do it just as easy as it did the Garrison there. Next most common one we're going to come across on these old buildings today is the Mul-T-Lock Classic. That's pin in pin, 5 pin chambers with pin in pin, so 10 pins total, but we just count it as a 5. So I've got that mounted up into a lock here, so we get that nice clunk when we get it open. Drop that in the vise, and without changing anything about the pick, we are going to use it exactly the same, only this time we're using the lines here on the top. We have 5 markings here and a marking on the plunger to tell us whereabouts we are in the lock and what pin we are on. Enter the pick into the lock carefully, all the way, make sure it's all the way in. And of course, on a padlock here, it's not going to be just in a vise like that, all nice, but for the purposes of showing it on a video, you could hold the lock in your hand as well as you hold the tension on. I've done that quite a few times before. Okay, so we're using these lines as said. We're going to apply light tension. We are also fighting the sprung core in the padlock as well, so you know, bit of extra hard for us. I'm going to use my thumb on the end of here to make sure I am applying light tension, because we're going to get some false set here, I hope. So checking pin 1, we've got to click on pin 2, click on pin 3, we've got to click on pin 4, but we sort of lost our rotation a bit, so I backed off a bit. Okay, another click on pin 4, I lost a bit on pin 3. Starting again, pin 2 and pin 3. And then we're just moving. Pin 1 gave us an extra bit of turn there, and some more turn. Pin 2, pin 3, pin 4, counter rotation. Okay, we've got that spool out of the way. It's tapping here now, pin 3, pin 2, pin 1. Let's check at the back. Nothing. Okay, you saw that we got a big rotation there, so that to me tells me we're just on inner pins, so we tapped on those. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. We got him open. Okay, so as I said, at any point you can remove that tool completely with locks in the picked position. If you're on a warrant and you want to get that expensive tool out of the door to stop anybody bashing it, then that's quite a necessary feature. Okay, so that was Mul-T-Lock Classic. While we got this blade in, we'll also cover non-Mul-T-Lock brands, which this tool is not advertised as doing, but it will do them. This is a Pioneer Plus. I've picked this one before on my channel. On the Pioneer Plus we have 6 pins, and we also have 8 trap pins to pass as well. So with the same blade, nothing changed. We'll come into the lock, and again, watching that bar at the top, we'll get some anti-picks in here, starting at the front. We have no lines for this, so this is just by feel, because again, it's not made for this lock. But in my opinion, a lot of picking is by feel anyway. So we're getting them counter rotations straight away. Here's another one. Okay, maybe one more. There we go. Big turn. And you see it's locked there like that. Again, we can remove the tool at any point. And now we're just going to combat those 4 trap pins. Occasionally on this lock you'll find it has 4. Most commonly there's only going to be 1 trap pin on each side, but in the most extreme case like today there's 4. So I've got a bit of a turn there. I'm just finding where the hold up is. uncommon. What am I catching on? Something's not quite right. Oh, there it goes. So it's catching a little bit where the key blade is on the traps. We come around to the other side and we'll do just the same again, just tapping them traps randomly, as you cannot overset the trap pins. There we go, we made a full 360. So again, that took a bit longer than it usually did, but on the door it could be something like that. So now, trying to get all the locks out of the way with the same tool configuration, I'm going to spin this vise round just a bit here and combat another lock that we get here in the UK. It's not too often we need to pick this lock because it's often found on a gate. This is gate mate, and again it's using, although they're using this same key profile here, like that. So mounting up in here, hopefully this is tight enough. That's what she said. And we can begin to pick. Now this lock has a sprung plunger in the back of it. Oh, we flipped the tool over because the pins are up in the top. It has a sprung plunger in the back here, you can see. And that plunger must be pressed in for you to pick this lock. And that can be where you might have a problem with a standard pick because your wrench won't reach that far back. So, apply the plunger on the back, a bit of tension, and pressing that plunger in can take away some of your feel as well whilst picking the lock. So you've got that to contend with. But again, by far, I believe this lock will be easier to pick with a 2-in-1 tool than it will with hand picks and actually get the bolt open. So this is not my favourite lock to pick, I'll admit that. But there it goes. I had overset something and I then relaxed the tension and it dropped into place. So again, you can climb over gates and fences to get to the inside where you can just want to take the screws out for this lock, I suppose. So it's not too often you have to pick this, but it could be on something that you can't get over, or you could be on a warrant where climbing over fences and things like that are not permitted. Okay, so that's about all for the right hand side. So we're going to change the tool around now and show you how that works. Just tighten this, get this vise back to where we might want it. Okay, so next up we can pick, we can go for the interactive here, Mul-T-Lock interactive on the opposite side to what we've been picking. So what we need to do here is change the blade and the wire in the plunger. Get that out of the way. And how we do that is there is a grub screw on the top here and a softer metal one on the bottom. That's to give you a proper pinch. If it was two solid screws like this black hardened one here, then it wouldn't really pinch very well on this ridiculously hardened steel blade that it uses. So it needs a softer one just to give a bit of bite. And we take that off as simple as, and this will be the blade that we're putting in next. We won't put it in just yet because we're going to remove this plunger and replace it. You see at the moment the flag is reaching over to the left to press down. We want to switch it out for one that reaches the other way. Now you can have this other wire in the other plunger already if you're happy to pick by feel, but with the markings here for a Cisa, you won't be able to see the lines on there. But really, if you're going to be picking a lock with the keyway on the other side, you're never going to need a 7B7 anyway, because that's typically only for the left side. So I like to change this over if I need to do that, and keep the Cisa wire in that side. So we'll take that blade out, and now we'll look over here for one that reaches the other way. I'll take any of those, slide it into the tool, temporarily tighten it up a little bit so we can go back into the tool and apply this blade. Now this is the left hand blade, got an L on it there to tell us it's left hand. We'll thread that in like so. Make sure that the plunger runs smooth, and it does, and then we can tighten that back down again on both sides. Okay, you may be thinking maybe this is a bit fiddly to do on the doorstep. My argument would be we are using all sorts of tools on the doorstep, decoders and things like that, which is a lot more fiddly, little pins and things like that than what this is. So it's not that big of a deal. We are setting up the wire now to match the lines. So there's two little cutouts here which allow us to be turned like that and still access the grub screw on both sides. So what we want to do here is set it up to that side, tighten down our little screw, move our picking tip right to the end where we'll see there is a little mark on the blade here, letting us know we need to line the tip up with that, and then we can tighten down our screws here on both sides, and we are ready to pick. So I'll set this up in the vise here. Could have it been the other way how we already had it, but that's fine, that's how it works. Widen this out a lot. Okay. Now this is one of my boxes that I've made. You guys may have seen these about. Nothing in it at the moment, I'm afraid, but that's okay. So lock that up in there, and we're going to go in this way. That's right, yeah. All the way in to the back, and again I can apply this rod for you guys so you can put it on this side so you can see what's going on and the movement of the core. And which way are we going? So the lock is on the other side for this one, so we can go the opposite direction. So I'm pulling down on this with my thumb. We're watching this lines in the middle again, and we now have red lines here. So just test through the pins. Getting some clicks. And literally just going through, testing all. I've got a bit of a movement there. That was pin 1, and in our case here, pin 1 is our interactive pin, so he needed to be pressed very deep. Okay, I relaxed my tension a little bit there. We must have had something overset, and when we applied it back on, we made a big turn. So we have passed now the outside pins, and so we're just going to tap through on the top pins. We'll do 5, 4, 3 gives a click, 2 gives a little click, 1 gives a bit of a turn, back to 2, back to 3, 4, 5, nothing. So we'll keep going through. 4, 3, 2 feels like it's holding us up. No, we just got stuck. Who is it? I'll double check 1 because that has to be the deepest. Okay. We're getting counter rotation there, that's not right. Come on, who is it? There we go. So I overset a little bit again on one of them, but we got it picked. And again, we can remove the tool whenever we like. And we see we have our box up. Okay, this video is getting nice and long, 25 minutes, but it is nice and informational. So, tighten this back up. We're going to move now from the Mul-T-Lock over to the Cisa Astral. Here we have a Cisa Astral, almost like brand new. We'll throw him up in the vise. And we're gonna again change the blade over, but for this one we can just switch plungers to the other tip. So take out our blade, make sure that the wire is out of the way, remove the plunger, and put the Cisa one in. And select our Cisa blade here. Get that connected in there, and this has on the blade 2 dots which will match up on here, so you know which way up you're getting the blade, so that's nice. We'll tighten him down again with the hardened one and the soft one to pinch it on the other side. Now I've already got my wire set up here, but with the back line matching the mark on the front, but it's exactly the same way to put that in as it is the Mul-T-Lock ones. So in we go. Now Cisa can be a bit of a different mistress to pick, so you need to really have it practiced. It's not just the tool that's picking these locks, it's your skill in picking a single pin, picking a lock as well. We have just the markings on here to help us. So we're going to go with the keyway on the left. We're going to go again picking in the anti-clockwise direction with a little bit of tension here. There's a special pin in these locks, it's almost always on pin 5 or pin 4, which is a sort of pin-in-pin configuration, and he's often like I suppose you call it a gatekeeper in lock picking, where you must keep going back to that pin to reset it. So make sure the tool's all the way in, a little bit of tension. Tap through some of the pins. Okay, I think I got pin 5 then. Pin 4 gives a click. Pin 3 gives a bit of something. Nothing on 2. 1, we saw we had a bit of a turn going on there, so we didn't get 2, so we're probably going to have to come back to 2. Tapping back through. Pin 6 sent us even further. Keep checking pin 5 just to make sure. So nothing on 4, nothing on 3. Here's pin 2 we were talking about. Okay, we got him set and lost a bunch of other stuff, so we'll check through. 1 still seems fine. 3, we must have dropped 3, we set him now. 4 seems fine, 5 seems fine, 6 we touched again, and 5 we touched again, and we got the pick. So, in my opinion, through the different ones that I've picked, this is the most difficult one that I've come across so far. They usually go a bit easier than that, but hey ho, there we are. It's the only one I have with me at the moment. Okay, moving straight on, we have Iseo R6 dimple lock. These are again another common lock that we have here. So wind our vise out and drop this in. Again, I've got it in a padlock just to make it that more satisfying whilst picking that you've opened something. So here we go again, switching this blade out. carefully remove, and we're going to take this wire out, and we're going to have to switch the blade again. I've done this in the wrong order. We're going to have to switch the wire again over on the other side, because we use the right hand multi-lock pick wire to do the Iseo. So we'll do that now. I'd be interested to see how many people stick around and watch this whole video. So here we go again, the right-handed wire. Let's put that in there, temporarily tighten that up so that we can insert it into the tool. If we can find it, there we go. And yeah, here we go. Iseo R6 blade. Make sure that moves freely, and it does. So we can tighten the blade down. It might be an idea, maybe a further addition if it's possible at all, to get a little thumb screw on here. If we're going to be doing this, well, we're not going to be switching the blade over all the time like this. This is to the extreme because I'm demonstrating the tool. But I don't know, maybe that would be a good addition. To just like eliminate the need for tools to change all this round. Okay, so we'll get them loosened off. We'll find again the little dot on the end of the blade to tell us where we're going to have that lined up. I've got to tighten down my little screw. There we go. Line up our picking tip. Tighten down that grip screw, flip it over, do the other one. Again, that's the same with a non-hardened screw and a hardened screw. Oops. Okay, loosen that off. Check it moves freely. And in we go. I'll move this bar around again for you to see. Okay, again, different picking techniques for different locks, so make sure you're practiced in the lock that you're picking. We'll use a light tension. It's important to note here that full drawback here, the tip hits the blade, and because we don't have markings for the R6, we need to note that we are currently on the second from the back line, and that if we stop there, then that's the limit. If we try and come any further back here, the tool will be sort of jamming up on itself, so important to know that. All the way in, a light tension on. Nice click there, nice click there, click, 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 open. And again, oh, I let it close before actually. There we go. Again, these locks have not been modified at all. That is a fresh, brand new Iseo lock. Go on whilst we're here, whilst we're making a really long video. Let's do another one. Brand new. There we go. Again, light tension on. Click, click. Oh, we lost something. Click, click, click. So, no problems. You usually do get a full set on those, but if you pick them in the right order, then shouldn't be too much of an issue. So, there we go. We've done both left hand and right hand multi-locks. We have switched the blades out. We've done Cisa Astral. We've done Iseo R6. We've done Pioneer Plus, Gate Mate. You can only imagine that we just need to change the blades out and we'd be able to pick a bunch more different locks as well. Maybe that's something he'll offer in the future. Maybe you can sell blades separately, perhaps, and pick wires. I'm not sure. I don't know. We also have to remember that we could buy these plungers as well with the markings on them, which would tell us all the different locks that we're picking, where the pins are as well. So quite a versatile tool. And again, it's something, if I just chuck that in there in the UK, 9 times out of 10 I'm not going to have to change anything about the pick. I just take it out and put it in, because it's several different locks on the same blade, and the most common ones I just leave loaded onto the tool. Now that I have two, maybe I'll have one set up one way and the other set up for the other side. But this tool again is expensive. However, I think the amount of locks that it's covered, it is definitely under the price it would cost to get a pick for each of those locks, for sure. It is all made out of aluminium, whereas the others are more solid steel. However, I feel that the light aluminium gives you a more sensitive touch whilst picking the lock, and doesn't take any feel away from you with having weight on the pick. The pick wires themselves, they are long, and that gives you a lot of sort of flex as you twist. You can feel the flex on it. Personally, I've gotten used to it, and I feel that that will stop from snapping any of the tips off of these wires. You'll feel the resistance gets too much before you physically snap a tip off. And to be said for these as well, these are very well handmade. They're not an extra piece welded onto the end of a rod, it's all one piece steel, and they're very well made by hand, by the guy with a Dremel, I think, and he makes them all very precise, and they all work very well. I've never seen another company make a pin-in-pin pick wire that works very well and doesn't break straight away. So, you know, look after your wires. You do get a bunch of them, as you can see in the box there, but look after them, and I'm sure he can also sort you out extra wires as well if needs be. I will try and get a link down in the description of the video of who you need to contact to get yourself one of these rotor picks if you like to spend the money on it. I'm not going to say a price here in the video because that price may change and it renders it useless. So just go and have a chat with him, see what sort of price it's going to be to get one sent over. He is from Ukraine, so you'll have time to wait for shipping and stuff like that. But the guy's very nice, and have a chat with him. His name's Vitaly, I think. Give him a message, see what he says. If you're anywhere around in America as well, there's a guy named George who sells them. I'll try and link to him as well, so you can get it that way if you're in that area. It will pick many other different locks that I don't have here today. It's basically, if the lock shares this simple keyway on the front like most do, then it's probably going to pick it. And if it fits, it picks, I believe. So grab yourself one and see what you think. Thanks for sticking around and watching this almost 40-minute long video, if you have made it to the end. And I won't make too many videos this long, so if you've just had nothing to do and sat down and watched it, then well done. Alright, catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.